Good everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. My name is Umbagalo, and with me once again is
Megalomaniac, hello internet.
Good Day. In today's supplemental episode, we're going to be running through the season 9 featured episode, Surface Tension, because as you know, it's a new season. There's a new mission to go along with it to push the story forward.
Yep.
And honestly, I think this is actually one of the best featured missions that they've done so far because I sort
Yeah,
of
it's
realized
very epic.
it is very well presented, and it's actually one of the things I've noticed very specifically as I was going through it myself, was how Cryptic has started to take their own original characters and actually make uh, a real universe around them. Like
Yeah,
there are a lot of characters that are in here that you saw every now and then
yeah, like
before doing their own thing. Yeah,
Sean Corn and Jirok. Is that her name?
more. Uh, yes, but more specifically the secondary characters because Sean and Koran have been made, well, Sean more so than Koran, have
Yeah,
been made major characters themselves, uh, pretty much entirely because of their role as the flagship captains. But this mission also includes a lot of this secondary characters
yeah,
playing not necessarily major roles, but the sort of roles that you would see, named secondary characters playing in an actual Star Trek series.
hmm
So the main thrust of this is, as people will remember, when we completed the last featured episode mission, uh, Tuvok walked away wanting to run a conference about the threat that the Undyne has brought to the Alpha Quadrant.
yeah, and
And
everyone's kind of at their throats over the second Dyson sphere.
yeah, so this mission will start off with us actually going to do that mission. Much like the the last one, there's also, they want you to run this mission 4 times. Like, yes, like if you look here at the loot list, there's actually quite a lot, but you also have to realize that 3 of the items are the different
Kits.
kits for each career.
So
So you're not going to be getting all 3 of them. You're only going to be
yeah,
getting one of the 3. But there are 2 new traits. Fluidic antigens, which is a ground trait that gives you, well, some resistance rating when fighting Undyne, and Living Hull, which is a space trait to give you more hull regeneration, which is pretty nice.
what's funny is there isn't actually a whole lot of Undying ground content at this point.
Yeah,
There's no, I mean, like with the Voth, there was the battle zone, but there's just the one mission on.
yeah.
I mean,
Which
aside
is
from the missions already in the game, there's just
yeah,
the one addition of the one mission on
which is
Bajor.
interesting because one of the things that Cryptic did do let's just accept this mission. Like other featured missions as well, uh, this mission is solo only.
Yes.
Anyway,
But you still have my voice for riveting running
or
commentary.
or are you?
I don't know.
It's
Let's see.
saying, it's asking you to. Oh,
No, we're in
and
different
it
things.
starts off with
The previously on,
the previously on Star Trek
which is
Online.
basically a summary of the game so far.
Yeah.
At least related to the Undyne stuff. I don't know if they go into the Romulan side of things or the
Uh,
Dominion invasion or whatever.
Hmm. Anyway, so as I was saying, it's interesting that there isn't quite as much Undying ground combat um, as you might think, because one of the things that Cryptic was actually making kind of a big point about was that they actually did a lot of work, uh, basically rebuilding the Undying ground game
Yeah.
entirely. Like they've rebuilt the models for the Undying, they've rebuilt the what their powers and abilities were. They re-imaged how they wanted the Undyne to play in ground combat, and then didn't really add a whole lot of ground combat for
No,
them.
even the redone missions, you only fight them on the ground once,
Yeah.
as
I mean, there is
opposed
there is
to
there is
I
a
think there were 3 missions
queued
last time.
there is that queued mission. Oh, the
Yeah,
other
the one
important
on
thing about
Bajor.
this is that this shows that the Federation Dyson is in fact the canon Dyson, which you know it Tuvok was captaining it, and if you saw what the crew was, like, yes,
That made
that
sense.
makes a lot of sense. Um, so now here we go.
Also gives us
Wait,
a year.
whoa! Did we just
It
go
gives
up?
us, yeah,
Did we just
yes,
go
the
up in
year
a year?
advanced. Yes.
Amazing. I think though what's interesting is that Tuvok captains the Voyager in this mission. However, uh, after I did the redone Undyne and Borg missions, it made a lot more sense because he also
Hmm.
uses the Voyager there. I just thought it was kind of strange because if you are a max level character, you probably went to this mission right after, um, well, right after in air quotes, uh, doing the last featured mission where he
If you were,
arrived
yeah,
as the Dyson. Yeah, you can actually do this mission at any level 10 or higher, as part of
right now
the
at
yeah,
least.
as part of the launch of season 9. Cryptic has said that they well, actually, let's see, does it say how long? So until May 1st.
But
After
I don't
May 1st,
think there's any,
the
like,
the rewards. I think the console will scale to your level, but everything else that you get from the sorry, no, the traits, you can use the traits at any level, but every other
yeah.
reward is locked to level 50 only.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you. I'd say you're right on
Because
target.
it's Mark 11,
Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
12
because
equipment.
it is. The console is, I think, Mark 12 equivalent, but the kit is actually Mark 11. Strangely enough, I think the difference is because they
I'm honestly not sure if there are Mark 12 kits.
in fact, that's probably what it is, just because even my ultra rare kit frame from the fleet, which no, there are Mark 12. There are Mark 12 frames. You
Oh.
can get them through fleet. Uh, I think the difference though is that there's something about how they program what the Mark 12 frames can do, that they just decided that they'll make this free one a Mark 11 instead.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so here we are going to talk to Tuvok.
Thank you for joining us.
And all over this room are a bunch of delegates from all the factions of the universe, not only people that are part of the Klingon or Federation, but there are some people here who are a little unaligned. So we're gonna,
There is, in fact, a Ferengi
yeah,
here.
there is a Ferengi here, which is actually pretty great, and he has his own line too, which is pretty great.
Meanwhile, Klingons, you got our good friend Ambassador Staff,
Yeah.
aka Cobra Commander, Corin.
So first thing you need to do is set up your security,
Yeah.
and then we got an argument we need to stop over here, which is pretty great because it includes our good friend Rugen Skyle, who, like, this is actually one of the things that I think is very interesting because Rugen is very much a secondary character. He is a named guy.
Yeah.
He has a role in some missions, but he is always in the background. He just is a guy that is there. But the fact that he constantly shows up for these sorts of things, he is a diplomat,
Yeah,
and he shows up at
he's
diplomatic
the
functions.
Federation ambassador, the Cardassian ambassador to the
Yeah,
Federation.
so he is a diplomat, and he shows up at diplomatic functions. And the fact that they keep doing this is great. It shows that they have their own internal consistency, and they are
Mhm.
willing to go with it. Like it's like how like many of the sort of random named Cardassians in Deep Space Nine. They keep showing up because it makes sense for them to. Not because they matter, not
Yeah.
because they have anything to do with what's going on, but because it makes sense for them to be there.
Yep. Now, I don't know if this was Bajorn Lady.
I think she is new.
Yeah, to be fair, the only other real encounters we had on Bajor were with the security guy during the 2800 thing. Though, speaking of, if you go over to the Federation delegation, actually the commander from the 2800, the Federation commander, actually
really?
is right here too. So
One thing
I think that was her, Commander Matthias.
Oof.
I know she's been in something
Yeah.
before. I want to say she was the one you're reporting to back on Bajor.
Maybe. One thing I think is kind of weird though is that if you have higher ranks in diplomacy, you can short circuit the argument instead of going through the whole thing. But your decision to short circuit the argument is to basically insult both parties.
I didn't get that because I don't have very high people.
I mean, the only person who is upset about it is Rugen. But you basically tell both people, you know, if you don't smarten up, I'll send you both home, but I'll still give you your toys.
Well, since you put it that.
So I think it's kind of strange that's considered the diplomatic option, but considering Rugen, I think it's still something that makes sense for the characters.
Thank you for your assistance. Please take
so now we can walk around and talk to some of the delegates. Oh yeah, like it's. I like the way that this part of the mission is set up. Oh, hey, Datan.
Thank you for the invitation. Starfleet certainly knows how to organize.
He's certainly diplomacying it up right away.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Jiro.
Very interesting. My security.
Oh yeah. Oh man, Jiro has a great line. Or actually, I guess it's more correct to say that you have a great reaction to Jiro.
That was unexpectedly.
Yeah. What's also great is there's a Zindi here.
Yep.
Like I know
and they
Zindi
reference.
and the Zindi just straight up calls out that he knows why they're here because they have suffered the same in their history.
They were duped by sphere builders, which I really should just watch like the third season of Enterprise because I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get back to watching it. Like I used to watch it with my dad, but we sort of fell out of it because we just sort of stopped watching TV in general. Not because the show was bad. Like I still enjoyed it, and knowing how it ends makes me really want to see the rest of the series because it puts the whole thing in a whole new light.
Yeah, see, given what I've heard, most people think Enterprise was a bad show.
Yeah, I'm not going to make an argument one way or another. I remember what bits of it that I had seen I enjoyed, but I didn't see that much of it.
Yeah, I saw like 2 episodes, so.
I saw most of the first season.
Well, no, I've seen 5 episodes, including the last one, but which was funny because I didn't know it was the last one at the time. I've probably said this before. I was building like a piece of furniture and just wanted the TV on in the background. So I'm like, oh, that was the last episode of Enterprise. It was actually an episode of TNG. Whoops.
Whoops.
That's kind of a bad way to end a show. Well,
complete the final preparations for the conference while
it's not always a bad way to end a show because the intended last episode of Justice League was actually an episode of Batman Beyond. Then they got another season, but that was kind of a celebration of, the entire DC animated universe at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Enterprise one, so far as I'm remembering, was basically just Riker using what happened to the Enterprise crew to make himself feel better, which is not really the best thing to do.
I kind of want to say that the Fregi delegate is based on someone, but he's not named. Maybe it's just because he's using a kind of generic,
I suppose we can begin.
generic
Yeah,
character
it's
model.
the generic nasally Ferengi voice.
Well, more than that, it's just like the face, but it could just be because he's using a generic model.
Yeah.
One of the things Cryptic did do with Season 9 was to overhaul a lot of the face modeling. So there's a much wider range of possibilities, or more specifically, it's easier to make a wider range of possibilities. And
Yeah, I'm actually using one on my character right now,
yeah,
which I'll show later if you can
The
like
undeemed
look. But
represent a clear and present danger.
so now Tuvok is going to go through his presentation, which I think that the insinuation of this first part is kind of interesting because yes, I understand that the Federation is still mostly a diplomatic and non-militaristic organization, but the idea that your captain, who is the hero of the universe multiple times, is running around being, the IT guy and the slideshow presenter is kind
well,
of
you're
goofy.
competent in everything, so
Yeah, it just shows that I'm multitask. This little exchange here with Stas is actually one of my favorite parts of this mission as well, because what Sean will do here in a moment is actually really great.
Mm-hmm.
He just straight up cuts off Jiro and says, "Nope, we were wrong."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like he really knows what he's doing, and it's just the way it short circuits Stas as well. Like he's just like, wait, what?
Do you agree with me?
What just happened?
Past mistakes will not solve the problems of the present.
Our fleet stands ready to protect
Yeah, I
both the
really like that.
Mhm.
Oh man, the Ferengi is missing from my cutscene.
He's missing from mine too.
That's sad. It was
It's funny because it didn't do it the first time.
yeah, it worked fine for me the first time I did this mission. This though, I think this is goofy, but it's goofy in a way that makes sense for what you would see in Star Trek.
Ferengi want to turn the Dyson Sphere into a vacation resort.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now, suddenly a fleet of Undyne ships just went through the gateway. So we'll have to deal with that.
Unknown. Drop to Lisette. Track their course.
Enterprise to Captain Sean. We're receiving a distress signal from Earth Spacedock.
Well, that's not a good thing.
The Federation is our
It'll be fine. Earth's been invaded before.
Yeah, this isn't the first time.
We will crush the comic coup.
We'll head back ourselves and yeah.
Us and a handful of various ships that are kind of here.
Yeah, considering the gigantic fleet that happens to hang around Earth Spacedock all the time, like I'm sure.
Yeah, where are they?
Yeah, actually, that is a very good question. I kind of wish they represented that a little bit.
What? Where all the other players?
Yeah,
went?
where did everyone go? Because you show
Well,
up.
they're all hanging around the Dyson Sphere gate right now.
Well, not all of them. I mean, I'm sure just a moment ago when you logged in, you still saw a shit ton of people around Earth Spacedock.
I did.
I kind of wished they represented that a little bit. Even if it.
It's normal in MMOs for you to be the only player that's kind of acknowledged usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of group content.
Oh yeah.
Agreed. Enterprise will clear the area around the.
All right, so we've all made it to Earth Spacedock, and the Enterprise and the Bortask will help us. And then me and Tuvok and I will go and fight our way straight to Earth Spacedock and try and beat back these small Undyne fleets.
Yeah, the Bortasque goes to help out the far side of Earth, which I guess are like orbital colonies or something like that.
I think it's just that there are more. Well, I don't know if it's so much orbital colonies, but I just took the insinuation to be that not every bit of the Undyne fleet is on this side, right next to Earth Spacedock.
Yeah, they mentioned that they're attacking something on the other side of Earth.
I
forget what it is
glossed
exactly.
over that.
I thought it was some kind of.
You know, it probably does
colonies.
include stuff like that, but
where's Xeon helping out here? They wanted to be independent, and now what happens? They're not doing anything.
And while we're fighting through this, Earth Spacedock is getting real beat up.
Yep.
As far as I can tell, all the damage to Earth Spacedock is scripted. So yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's happening in the exact same place. Basically, every time you kind of move to a different route.
And it's nice because it actually does tie into something that we will try and show off very quickly if this video doesn't take forever.
This is a very long mission. This is probably like 50% longer, if not twice the length of the other featured episodes.
I don't know if it's twice the length, but it is definitely a longer featured episode. Yeah. So the fact that they want you to run it 4 times is a little like that's a.
No, we're doing it. We're showing it twice because of this.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck when I have to run it 4 times.
Really, you only need to run it all 4 times if you want both the ground and the space set, because the last 2 items. But actually, even then, like if you don't do a lot of, if you're not going to be using the ground trait, then you can just not run it for that. Yeah, I like that, the option is pretty nice.
It's not like I have to hurry and do it. I'll just do it if I'm bored. Like I still think I need to run Step Between Stars on this captain once.
Oh yeah?
For something,
I think I've run it enough times on all the characters that I care to have that stuff on. I don't know how many times I'll run this one on my Romulan, but that's something that I'll deal with later.
Yeah, I did it all 4 on the Romulan because I wanted the Solonate set.
Oh, yeah, that's why I ran it that many times on my Romulan and on my main character.
Shields. Oh no, I guess I did do it all 4 because I'm running all. I do have all 4 pieces right now. So it was a stopgap measure until I got until I get other stuff. Though at this point I can start getting some of the Borg stuff, but I'm not sure because the Borg rep has basically 4 sets, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get a Borg set as a starting one, or actually I shouldn't even really say starting because they're all Mark 12s, and the stats of the later reputation sets are basically balanced around the fact that the Borg ones exist, or that the Omega Rep ones exist. Like I would recommend to you to get the Omega set, because that's the one that's meant for escorts. Whereas the Mako and the adapted Mako are meant for cruisers, and the Borg is meant for like playing around with, I guess. One thing I
think the Borg one's kind of oriented. I'd have to look again. I think it's kind of oriented towards science.
It's kind of disjointed because it's a lot of it is actually a lot of offense and defense, because it's got abilities that are, well, the assimilated console, which isn't really part of that same set, but it used to be, is
now the console, the torpedo, and the cutting beam are all part of the same set. Which I have all of those right now. I'm going to switch out torpedo once I get tier 2 in Undyne with the biomolecular Undyne torpedo, or the torpedo from that. Just because that set boosts photons, and I want to be running. I'm going to be running that set anyway, so.
Yeah, the Undyne set is very much for for escorts or at least for DPS. Not necessarily for like you could probably run it fairly easily on a cruiser or a science vessel, but it is designed for damage, not for tanking like the last few reputation sets have been.
Which is okay. I mean, it's like I looked at the Nukara stuff. I'm basically leveling up Nukara stuff just to see.
I still really like
like
the Nukara stuff. I need to run more Nukara rep things so that I can buy the new Mark 12 ones because I only had the Mark 11 set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing I might need to try and do, I doubt that they represent it, but like I may need to try and do this mission with a character that has done the new Federation tutorial. Because so you've got Ensign Rack here, who is from the new tutorial.
Yeah.
So like I wonder if it references that or not.
Also, I should put on my armor because
Oh
I have
yeah.
armor now. That was another thing they did is armor visuals basically don't actually just exist. They kind of folded it into the trailer.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, for the longest time, you could still just choose to disable the armor visuals, and then it would show your whatever your uniform is.
Yeah, but I mean, now you don't show the armor. You can go to the tailor, and there are armor bits available for you, just like
That's
the
pretty
ref
good.
ones.
Laser fire. We need to manually activate the fire suppression system.
Yeah, I like how Rack is also like, man, after all the shit that happened in the new tutorial, I thought working at Earth Spacedock would be quiet.
There are more Undine nearby.
Jokes on you.
Jokes on
Well,
you.
know, you just happen to show up at a bad time.
Here I am with my biomolecular disruptor high density beam
I'm
rifle.
still using the set rifle I got from the Voth ground set, which is actually a pretty good ground set.
I have the Voth two parts of the Voth ground set on my Romulan. I have not done any real ground content on
Fair
this
enough.
character yet. So I got the biomolecular rifle from the
they give that out pretty like they give a lot of that out actually. It seems like it's well, the way that those boxes are weighted seems like if you look at what the stores unlock, the first few tiers unlock ground weapons only. Like you don't even get into space weapons. You don't even get into space weapons on the store until like tier 4.
Yeah. Well, I got a few at tier 3, but they tend to be dual beam banks. And they tend to be.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing as well. Which is it's interesting that the reward boxes.
That was for the dice.
It's interesting that the reward boxes have a chance of giving blue items when Cryptic has made a specific point that the stores and the reputation projects will only give purple.
I'll stay here. Good luck.
But the boxes are free, so that's why they can get away with it. And like honestly, for some of them, it being blue is also still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was running the blue protonic polarons on my Romulan until I got I got access to the store tier 4. So,
but the way the reward boxes seem to work is that in general it will give you items from like 1 or 2 tiers higher. So since these space weapons, at the very least for Undyne, are like tier 4 unlocked, you're not going to see them from reward boxes until you hit tier 2 or tier 3.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I ran and found Admiral Quinn, but he turned out to have been an Undyne infiltrator. So, whoops.
Whoops.
And it's so we're just
It's a trap. I was kind of expecting it to have Admiral Quinn have been one all along.
considering the way they've done some of the characters, that is not that would not have surprised me too much.
The shape-shifting nature of species
But the implication is that this was just a trap for you, and that Admiral Quinn is still out there somewhere.
Yeah, this is right after that trap, you apparently talked to the Admiral. So, so of course, because of what just happened, you can question him on how do we know you're the real Admiral, and he gives you and Tuvok a few things that only he should know. So now we're still trying. He basically tells us where we were trying to go to in the first place, because we were trying to get to his office to begin with. Now we'll try to navigate around this bit of ESD that's all banged up. Yeah,
it's not that trashed.
Yeah, just a little bit of paint, a few pieces of plaster. Yeah, some
few
some plaster
2x4s.
I mean,
patching up the walls.
The force fields are already doing a pretty good job at making the place seem homely already. Like, just look at that excellent view into space. You don't even need to put up new windows.
Nope.
Yeah, there is something interesting about this that we will see. We'll try to look into once we are done the mission. We should.
Oh, we can.
Actually, we are making fairly good time on the mission itself. Yeah, folks may be noticing that the Undyne do look a fair bit different in this mission, because Cryptic, when they were talking about the redesign of the Undyne, they were talking about how they sort of felt and realized that the way they designed the Undyne armor seemed really weird in retrospect. So one of the things that they were that they wanted to make a point of was to redesign the armor, the progression for the Undyne, so that it was something that made a lot more sense for what they were. So which really actually in a way kind of makes them out to be a lot more Protoss-y. Especially since they changed their primary weapon to be a wrist-mounted laser lance.
Yes, Fix, I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it.
There is a scene in the remade Borg missions which has one guy who just totally looks like a zealot ripping through a bunch of Borg. Yeah, it's
for ire.
Great.
Thank you. Now maybe we should.
They look. Honestly, I would like to actually compare them with the models from Voyager.
I think they did do one of the blogs actually did talk about the comparison, because apparently the models for Voyager were pretty low quality. So they had a lot of for the time it was, you can't complain, 98. You can't fault them too much. And it turns out Egg was an Undyne.
Yeah.
One thing, this has actually left me kind of wondering something, because I need to also look up something at some point after this mission. But with Egg and Cooper, I'm left wondering whether the regular guys are still around somewhere. Like I wonder if there is still a Cooper somewhere in the universe, because after Step Between Stars, he just sort of vanishes off the face of the galaxy.
Yeah. Well, without giving too much away, you run into Cooper in the redone Borg Undyne mission set, and
Yeah,
I'm
but
willing to bet
those missions are set before Step Between Stars.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet, or at least my theory is, he gets captured and replaced during one of those two missions.
I think that's true.
My theory, my running theory at least.
Yeah, I think that's true.
There's a point where he leads you somewhere, helps you get into the basically the Borg thing to find the cure to that virus, the Borg nanovirus that was going on. And then you leave him behind while you go handle the Borg. Then the Undyne attack, and then you run into him, and he's like, "Hey, come over here, help me." My theory is he gets taken or replaced, or killed and replaced, or whatever, right about there.
There's
or
well, I'm not going to say I disagree with that theory, but there's the way well, maybe we should say this because it'll be a while before we get to those missions.
Yeah.
But the way a later mission in that set plays out kind of makes that one of the ways that it could be interpreted makes that seem a little weird. But then again, the way that if you interpret that scene in that way, there is kind of issues with how what later occurs anyway. So, but that's stuff we can talk about at a later time when we go and do the redone Borg missions.
Yeah.
But at the very least, we are seeing here that the imitation Cooper is still around.
Indeed, Doctor.
Yeah, I'm still fighting Egg. He's kind of a pain. Which is weird. I'm having a lot more trouble with him now than I did before. Maybe Tuvok's being less competent or something.
Maybe.
Admiral Tuvok! Admiral!
Diversion. This.
There we go. Vaporized him even.
What do you mean?
Kronos.
So there's no evidence left.
Whoops. Yeah, so it turns out that the Undyne's real target was Kronos, and they just sent in a massive fleet here to destroy Earth Spacedock as a diversion. Because if you can destroy the other major power in the galaxy, that's a pretty good diversion.
So now it is up to us, Voyager, and Korn to save Kronos.
That's right.
And Korn's a bit annoyed by that.
Yeah, she is. She is real salty.
I can understand it, considering they've sent at least 3 ships to help defend Earth Spacedock.
Did they send any?
I saw a couple.
Okay. Because I could only remember seeing the Bortask.
Where is the Enterprise?
Now I don't know where the Lisette was during that, but
During the fight at Earth Spacedock.
yeah.
The Lisette went with the Bortask.
Okay.
Whereas the Enterprise went by itself, because the Enterprise.
No, I'm sure it had.
Because the Enterprise is more badass than the Bortask.
Well, the Enterprise is the main character of its own show, so
That's right.
it just guest stars on Hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you've been running into it, but those floating bits of space mucus are annoying as hell.
Yeah, the goofy thing as well is that even though I'm flying an Undyne ship, it still slows me down as if I'm not.
Yeah.
I am kind of on the edge of submitting a ticket to Cryptic and saying, you know what? Maybe the Undyne ship should be immune to the Undyne
That would make them
fluidic phase.
way too good for that battle zone, because this crap shows up all over the place there.
Yeah, it is super like those. Yeah, the fluidic space bubbles is basically like it's basically eject warp plasma but worse.
Yeah, they're eject warp plasma, and then the rifts are basically gravity well.
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, it is.
And
it is the two powers combined.
I basically need to slot myself another attack pattern Omega somewhere to deal with this crap. I think
I've just been kind of sucking it up because that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, because
it's like even 2, I wouldn't be able to chain
yeah,
it. So.
like because I'm a beam boat, it doesn't really matter if it slows me down to basically nothing. But
yeah, I'm an escort.
Yeah, like for you, it really matters. But for me, because I'm a beam boat cruiser, although like one of the things I'm kind of thinking that I should probably do with the bio cruiser is give it a few more dual beam banks, simply because like a turn rate of 11 on a cruiser is pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you could use cannons, I'd say go.
I can't. Well, I could use singles, but like if I could use singles, I might as well use.
No.
I might as well use dual beam banks. Yeah. I have to look into getting a few dual beam banks, and consider that because I've got. What was the one I just replaced? Because I think I have a Mark 11 phased Tetrion dual beam bank, which is pretty good. But I want to see if I can get a Mark 12 disrupting Tetrion dual beam bank. The disrupting Tetrions is the one that was from the Hirogen lockbox, which is it's actually pretty nice because it changes the Tetrion damage proc to, instead of it being a instant damage to all the target's shield facings, it is a damage over time, which for the most part is basically the same in terms of pure damage, but the benefit is that with it being a damage over time effect, if it triggers, it actually helps to keep the enemy's shields offline. As opposed to what generally happens is that in between the time where your beams hit the enemy and your torpedo were to hit the enemy, if you were playing in that way, their shields come back online and dramatically lower the damage of your shields of your torpedo. Because if you have any shields and you hit if you get hit with physical damage and you have any shields at all, it doesn't matter how much shield energy there is. A lot of the physical damage gets absorbed, and or at very least it
not wants to be in the middle of all that.
Oh yeah, there's a pretty big Undyne fleet, but yeah, all physical damage gets very dramatically lowered if there are any shields at all on the target. So the destabilized Tetrion helps with that by the fact that it. Tuvok also is not that keen on our odds, and that makes Koran super salty about it.
Think of it as an increase in your chances to die with honor.
Whoops, those Undyne ships oh wow. Okay, there we go.
Did you get caught in like the middle of a
No, it's just that the cutscene came in to have that new line of ships warp in, and then it just sort of started spinning around in a circle because the cutscene kind of bugged out.
Whoops. Yeah, it showed me just kind of firing.
And then now the Enterprise has arrived.
My apologies for being late.
With a few more friends.
Yeah. I think what's actually kind of neat is what types of ships the Enterprise brings with them, because they bring an Armitage and 2 Typhoons. The Armitage by itself is actually pretty interesting because it's It's not one of those ships that you would have thought would have been that common, but it is a very popular ship. Like it is definitely one that's been asked for quite a long time.
Well, it's because it's the Federation's only fast carrier.
Well, in terms of pure Federation ships, it is basically the only carrier. Yeah, the Vesta has. The Vesta's hangar slot is a little funny because it's really kind of contextualized in the same sense that a normal ship's shuttle bay slot is. So, yes, the Vesta is also a carrier, and the Dreadnought carrier, the Dreadnought cruiser is also a carrier now, which is actually kind of neat. The Galaxy X, yeah.
Oh, the Galaxy
For some reason,
X.
they decided to add a
they
decided to add a hangar slot to the Galaxy X for some reason as part of the upgrades to the Galaxy classes. Yeah, I don't know why they did either. Like the Akira, I know why, because they were making a reference to the original design documents of the Akira. The Vesta, I'm pretty sure was one of those like balance things because it was a new ship and they wanted to give it something. And at that time, there wasn't really a whole lot of options on the Federation side for anything that had a carrier slot. Like the Aatrox came out before the Vesta, and that was basically it. So at the time the Vesta came out, and the Vesta came out after the Odyssey, but the Odyssey didn't have a carrier slot, even though it had a carrier pet in the form of the Aquarius.
Aquarius. Yeah. Sure. How far are you? Let's just say which would go
I'm
second.
Still a fair bit. I'm
Okay.
like I just mentioned the Enterprise game. I'm still about halfway through the enemy fleet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I kill a bit faster.
Yeah,
than
just
you.
a slight bit. You know, what with being an escort. I really hope, like with Typhoons sort of coming up more and more often, like I am surprised that the Typhoon is still not player usable.
Maybe
probably
it will
be. It's got to be at some point. They are going to add the Typhoon as a player usable ship. It is just crazy that it is one of those ships that has been in the game since the launch, and it still is NPC only. The Jupiter class is also in the same boat, but the Jupiter class looks super dumb.
Yeah, nobody wants it.
I think
well,
I'm sure there are people who want to play it, especially because it's it would be a dreadnought, and there aren't that many dreadnoughts in the game, so that by itself would give it a niche. But yeah, it's strange. Okay, there you go. Now we got something big is warping in through a fluidic warp. Something real big because they got to open up a bunch of portals.
This bit reminds me of one of the Babylon 5
You know what?
movies.
Yeah, I could totally see how this design looks a lot like that.
Well, not the design. Well, I mean, kind of the design, but well, honestly, Species 8472 reminds me a lot of the Shadows anyway. But
Yeah.
Kinda, in that they use living technology and are kind of like not humanoid.
Yeah.
And they have planet killers. But I mean, their motives and stuff are generally pretty different.
Yeah, so the Undine have warped in a planet killer weapon, and we need to not let it get any further, because that would be bad.
Yes. Similarly, in one of the Babylon 5 movies, which I think was the one that was setting up Crusade, a bunch of dudes found a shadow planet killer, and a fleet needed to stop it from blowing up Earth.
I think one of the interesting things here is that Voyager just happened to be carrying around one of their magic torpedoes for fighting the Undine. That's just been sort of sitting in their launcher base for like the last 20 years.
But the planet killer can still fire.
Yeah.
20 or 30.
Like I can't remember offhand when Voyager set. But yeah, it's like 20 or 30 years. Oh, and there's the Aquarius.
Yep. As I said,
where
we
we
get
get
to see
this
the Aquarius.
nice bit where you get to basically drive through
Action
this
hero
rail,
through.
blowing up badly damaged Undyne ships. It is pretty great.
That was pretty cool. What's funny is I'm not sure if that's the actual Voyager bridge model they have in the game. I've never seen it, but it doesn't really look like Voyager's actual bridge to me.
I'll see if I can take another look at it once, because I think they will show it one more time. It may actually be.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of Voyager was not at that angle, and a lot of times Voyager, when they were showing the bridge, it was like dark. Something I never really liked about Voyager. Like anytime they went to red alert, they shut the lights off.
Weapons are offline.
I don't know why they did that, but
This is our only chance. Setting the Aquarius on the collision course.
I'm on the next
That
one.
is.
Acknowledged. Do we have Sean's...
Is it the okay?
Getting locked now, sir.
I don't know, I've never actually seen it in game. It doesn't look exactly like Voyager's the bridge from the show to me. But
Yeah, it might be.
it
I
might just be an angle
I will
because-
interpose a few shots of the bridge from Voyager. Yeah. and-
the in-game bridge.
Actually, I
have
think
that
I
one?
do have it purchased. All right, this part here is also
Captain Sean.
a little goofy because why was Voyager trying to get a lock on Sean when I was literally sitting
Yeah, I know, we were right
there. In a way, I understand why they did it because it makes for easier storytelling. But it's still goofy because my ship is literally right there. Why are you getting a guy on the other side of the battlefield to try and beam him off the Aquarius?
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't really matter because distances involved aren't pretty enormous anyway, as far as what
Yeah.
the story can do.
Species 846
Yeah.
presents with their own eyes for the first time.
Anyway, so now we celebrate our victory, which it's interesting what they say you can do in order to
Advance it.
advance it. Yeah, dance with others,
Ooh,
use party devices.
Do I have that? Or is that on my Romulan?
Oh, the party grenade.
Party horn.
You do have a party horn on you?
Yes.
I didn't mind with me.
Oh my god, I used it once and advanced at like 15%.
That's amazing. I also liked Stas sort of congratulating you, because by saying that he has always appreciated or respected the Federation ever since Captain Kirk blew up one of his race with a cannon made out of a log.
Yes. You know, the Mythbusters tried to recreate that.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I don't recall / never saw if it actually works, but anyway, the downside to using the party horn is, in fact, you don't get to talk to everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense because the percentages is based on you being able to talk to everyone.
I was hoping to still let you just talk to them.
Our people come from a culture of deception and division. We've rejected our past.
though.
Although it's strange that one of the people you can talk to is just a straight up random and nameless NPC. So what am I missing? Oh, right. I didn't talk to Worf or Corrin.
Whoops.
You have shown your true nature today.
Also, one thing I found out never give the party horn to an NPC. They will sit there and they will use it and they will do absolutely nothing else.
Yep.
And by NPC I mean one of your bridge crew.
I'll talk to Jim Pock.
Which, as hilarious as it was to have balloons all over the Borg cube.
Yep. I mean, it's in a way it's like what if you give them a tribble, like they will use them basically whenever they can.
At least tribbles tend to have like 2-minute cooldown. This thing has nothing.
Actually, triples only have a cooldown if they give you a. They only have a cooldown if they give you one of the currencies, and even then the cooldown is only on the currency.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I should use my new car tribble more.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you probably should. I mean, it's not that many marks, but it's a few marks.
One.
Yeah. It is terrible efficiency because it's 1 mark every hour, but it is a free,
yeah, but I mean it's literally you pressing a button.
Yeah, it is a free mark. Also, this is very interesting. Just right in the middle of the speech, we get introduced to an Iconian.
Dun dun dun.
Just shows up because they can.
They're kind of cool looking.
Yeah, actually, that is a pretty neat design.
I don't think they've directly been shown in the game before.
No,
we've seen outline,
and we have seen an Iconian ship.
Yeah, we've seen a ship and we've seen like an outline of one in the. Have you finished New Romulus Rep with anybody?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, if you finish it, you get the last like rep mission you do. You basically are viewing like a recording. It's in kind of silhouettes, and you see a silhouette of an Iconian and some servitor race of theirs. I don't know if it's one we've run into before.
I've started working on the Romulan rep again because of the changes to rep for season 9, but it's still on the back burner because I'm focusing more on Nakura and Undyne.
Yeah, just. I mean, spoilers, it ends with you finding that Iconian gateway that was sphere of influence.
Servitor races and other species to do their fighting for them. Species 8472 has been an unknowing cat's paw of the Iconians for some time.
Yeah, before they showed the full body, I thought this was like a new Borg Queen or something they were showing.
For a moment, I was thinking it might have been a like some sort of Undyne leader. But that design was also very clearly not meant to be an Undyne.
No, it's just like when they first showed when they showed the leg, I was like, oh, it's a new Borg Queen or something.
Because there actually is a new Borg Queen in STO. We just haven't done anything with her in a long time. Because there was one of the old STFs was actually based around that, and there was going to be another one that was going to expand it even more. But when the STFs didn't quite go over very well to begin with, and then they had to spend a lot of time just entirely rebuilding the STFs, that mission has been kind of put on the back burner. So they haven't done much, but Cryptic has, like, on one of their back burners, has in fact been doing more with the new Borg Queen. So anyway, we saved Earth and Kronos, and we have forged a new peace agreement-ish with the Klingons.
So the war's over.
Actually, you know what? It kinda is. You will still. So one of the things that they did at Cryptic actually did do as part of season 9 was change the PvP missions so that they are all cross-faction. So you can actually team up with Klingon characters on your same team to do battle with another team which is comprised of Federation and Klingon warriors, which I imagine is now contextualized as some sort of war games.
Probably. Yeah, so basically at this point, the only, beyond the early Federation, and Klingon missions which are set before the current game. The only stuff are kind of a few of the old, a lot of the older queued stuff like Starbase 24 and
Yeah.
and Gorn Minefield and the various versions of that.
Yeah, which really in a way is stuff that's in the past. In fact, I would probably say
Yeah.
that the fact that uh, surface tension is very explicitly set in 2410, which means that it's advanced a year. It means that like everything else is very much in the past. So it made this is
Mm-hmm.
surface tension has made a very obvious break in the story. Uh,
Yeah.
Between this is the stuff that is before the alliance, and this is stuff that is after the alliance. And basically,
Mm-hmm.
every mission that is set before surface tension is still with the war going on, which means basically everything in the game. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was surface tension, but we got one thing we want to show off very quickly. We want to show off what uh, the aftermath of the battle at Earth Spacedock has caused. So I'm gonna warp back.
So transwarp to Earth.
Yeah, so we'll warp back.
Wait, hang on. I might have been a dumbass.
Oh,
Not with the transwarping. I got that
okay.
right, but
So they seem to have repaired ESD pretty quickly because it's looking pretty good.
okay. No, I did grab the kit. Good. I was afraid I grabbed the console again. I'm like, wait, am I a dumbass?
Yeah, I had to think about that because I couldn't remember. But yeah, I grabbed the trait the first time I went through because, hey, more hull regeneration? That's a great ability. Yeah, so one of the things Cryptic did for Season 9 was they built a brand new Earth Spacedock. Which is...
And apparently, and that mission basically justified why they did it.
Well, not so much why it's been rebuilt, but it definitely is a good explanation as to why they would at least show off a different location.
There you are.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, I'm using one of the new faces.
Oh,
yeah, they're one of the new...
Or one of the new presets?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I should probably go and look into it because my character's face preset is still like one of the more defaults. So the new Earth Spacedock is designed more in the line of actually, well, really the other factions. Instead of it being this massive circle with everything, it's now a much more open area. With everything in the corners and this nice big open area that actually just really accentuates, like, it is really beautiful.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the older Spacedock looked like a series of rooms.
Yeah, and whereas this one now just looks like an area that people would actually, well, not necessarily live in, because this is still like a shopping area sort of location, but it is definitely much more it's definitely a much less militaristic. So
yeah, I've heard some people say it looks like a mall.
Well, no, it absolutely looks like a mall. So right down the middle.
Yeah, there's all
here's
the
all the
ship
ship stuff.
stuff.
You no longer have to go to a whole other map. It's all right here for you. For shuttles, and then much like what Cryptic was doing before, they are showing a few ships out the window.
And no, you cannot commit suicide.
Yeah.
I've tried.
There are some places where you can jump out of the map, but Cryptic is fixing them. One of the things that's interesting is so some of these ships that are out here are actually custom models. Like, they're not the canon designs, which was actually very interesting because there was someone who complained about that fact on the STO forums, and the map designer basically came back saying, if player captains can change the model of their ship, do you think that no one else in the galaxy is doing that either? I don't know which ones are different though. Because that Nova looks,
Um,
the Nova looks,
Nova looks
the
normal.
Miranda looks normal. The Avenger,
I think the Odyssey's using different nacelle. Or
but
is that an Odyssey? Yeah, I think the Odyssey's using
wait,
different
is there an
nacelles than
Odyssey?
normal. Or this thing right in front of us, is that an
No,
Odyssey or
that's
Sovereign?
the. I
Or
think
is
it's
that
the
the Vesta?
Vesta.
Oh, then I've got a crappy angle on it.
Uh,
Oh no, there's an Odyssey over
oh, is that?
there.
Oh, is that an
Off to the
Odyssey way
right.
over in the back?
It's either an Odyssey or a
Okay.
Sovereign, I can't really. I think it's an Odyssey.
It's an Avenger. There's an Armitage.
It's
Oh, yeah,
Prometheus.
that's an Odyssey way over there, next behind the. Actually,
Yeah.
that Prometheus might be a custom.
Um, let me find out, because I have a Prometheus and I can kind of just look right at it.
Yeah, that is an Odyssey in the back. Uh, there's a uh, Excelsior far back there.
Um, it's kind of hard to tell on the angle, but I think it's using the Phoenix saucer.
Yeah,
but
because it doesn't.
I'm not like 100%
Yeah,
sure on
I can't
that.
tell so much from the angle, but it doesn't look like. And I think that's a Sao Paulo, the Defiant that they're using down there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the
I think
black
that's a
bits.
Sao Paulo design. Regardless,
Yeah.
it's possible that the map designer may have changed which models he was using, but I do remember him specifically mentioning, since he did use some kit bashed models at least at one point during the development, he did respond to
Hmm.
some people who were complaining by saying, like, why are you complaining? You guys are doing it yourselves. Do you think that no one else is?
Yeah.
So there's infirmary. Nothing's too special about that. I mean, it's a new looking infirmary.
Actually, the infirmary. Here, I'll go in there. It's interesting because the center of it very much reminds me
Yes.
of the sick bay from Voyager.
Yeah.
This big part right here, it looks
Yeah, it is
almost
basically
exact.
the same as their surgery bay, basically.
Yeah.
It is definitely designed after that.
Yeah. In fact, I even recall the Doctor having an office
Yeah,
off
I
to the
think
right like this.
the Voyager design was I think it was reversed, or at the very least it
Maybe.
was more horizontal instead of vertical.
Yeah, and it was a little less
Well,
like
yeah,
shiny, but I mean, it's very reminiscent
yeah,
of what the Voyager
it is
sick bay
definitely.
looked like.
Um, Over here is probably where Club 47 is going to go once it comes back. Uh,
Yeah, I
they
think
didn't
they
finish it
didn't
in
get it finished in
time,
time.
so they prioritized.
If you go up this ramp, I
Yeah.
should say. I
Well,
shouldn't say
I mean,
stairs.
well, and
There's the
DJ
commodity
Zuza is up
vendors.
there. But the
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's not a
yeah,
player.
DJ,
Every time I come here, I'm like, oh, that's a gnarly looking player. Then I didn't. It just hit me like,
yeah,
wait, why are they still
DJ
there?
Zuza is up there, and there's someone who sells booze, which is actually it may also be DJ Zuza.
Hmm. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
Club
this is
47 will
probably
probably go
close.
there. They just didn't get to finish the remodeling in time. So they're like, you know what? It doesn't need to be done right away.
No, we've got other
Requisitions.
shops.
So here's the new area for the commodities, the uniforms. Another great change in season 9 is that all character customization no longer costs credits. So
Yep,
yep. So
and ship customization. Another a nice come back here. A nice
yeah,
touch I like in the
yeah,
tailor
if you go to the changing
changing
room,
rooms.
you can press a button and you can change your
You can
uniform right
actually
there.
change your uniform. I mean, you can change your
Well,
uniform
yeah.
wherever you want anyway, but
Well, more specifically, like you can actually go and yeah, you
it
open
brings
up
up the tailor
the editor.
interface fully.
So I think the thing that Mecha was referring to was I was just trying to remember like
Hmm.
where was that armor stuff? I I know if you go
Oh,
if
here,
you
I'll
go to
actually
head,
show
if
you
you
on
have
me.
like the special armors unlocked, if you go to head, you can choose between.
Yeah. No, here, look at my character right now. I'm basically, this is just pieces of armor that I had that
Huh.
you tailor into an outfit. Like I can actually put on the the heavier plates
Interesting.
and stuff too. I just didn't because I like the idea of just the armor being like really sleek and stuff. But yeah, you can actually take armor pieces that you had and
Huh.
make that a part of your uniform.
Wonder where that is.
Like a hilarious one I can't show. Well, I can probably show it real quick. Let's modify this. But
Oh, that's another thing that I was probably missing because I was probably looking at the primary the primary costume slot, which is kind of set to only being uh, like normal uniforms, or the reputation
mhm,
armors if you've unlocked them. Because
yeah, a
oh,
fun
there you
one
go. Yeah,
that
it's
I
now that
can
I've
take. So I don't normally do this because it's amusing, but one of the armor pieces is basically an Omni tool.
you should use that.
My issue is it can't. Well, my issue is I can't get it
Really?
orange. I can get it
You
like green or maybe yellow. Yeah, you
weird.
can. It's only certain colors. It's if you have it, it's Psi Doctor. It's a right arm piece. And it's like Science Doctor 3.
Huh. Oh yeah.
But yeah, you can get it blue if you want. But yeah, you can only get certain tones.
Okay, I don't have Psy Doctor 3. I just have Doc. I just have Doctor
Yeah,
1.
it's hmm. Well,
Yeah,
it's
so
related to
if
kits you
okay,
had. So
on my left side, I've got. Oh no, I don't have science for left side, but I do have more options for. Uh,
yeah, it's like certain things. I'm not sure if there's just unlocked by equipping certain
well,
kits
it clearly can't be
or
equipping because I've got like some security kits. So
well,
it may just be owning.
yeah. See what I'm wondering if it's like
That's also
account unlocking
actually
it or
yeah, that's a
something.
possibility. That would make a lot of sense. Oh wow, yeah. Although
Eh,
you might want to look into. Well, no, no, it can't be that then because I've got as chest gear, I've got Scientist 3, which is the holographic armor.
yeah, I don't know then.
Or actually, did you say it was arm or did you say it was wrist? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, yep, there it is.
Wrist.
Yep,
Sorry, did I
I
say
got it
arm?
now.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's wrist, and it's only right. There's no left one, or at least
yeah,
I don't have a left one. Yeah, one of the chest ones is it's also that one's Psy Doctor 2, but it's like
yeah. I was just
holographic looking
mentioning that's
chest
the one
armor
I
in
was
the
just
same
mentioning.
vein.
Oh wow, I got a bunch of back pieces.
But yeah,
Yeah, wow, I
that bit
didn't
of
even
extra
notice that was
customization
something
is
that they
really
added.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
I didn't even hear about it. It's just I saw someone complain about their armor disappearing, and then someone mentioned, "Oh yeah, it's just all in the tailor now." I'm like,
man,
"Oh, that's really cool."
I have a lot more different belt options now because all my kits show up as
Mm-hmm.
belts.
Yep.
Huh. Hip attachments. Wow. I'll have to go through these at some point and see if there's any of these I want to use.
Kind of, it's like I have 3 uniform slots on this
But
character. I'm actually using them all now.
the big thing though,
I
I'll
don't know why I have
probably
the
look
third.
into that more once I finally unlock the Dyson uniform because oh my god, that uniform looks so good.
Yeah.
But that'll still be a while. But I am working towards it. But anyway, oh yeah, and then over here, just the last corner is the exchange. which they say it's the exchange,
Yes.
but they also have the bank, which they just don't really identify.
There are bank
Well, that's
terminals
the
like this all over
that's
the
the mail
place,
terminal, but the bank
and mail
terminals
terminals.
are actually oddly the bank terminals don't have the highlights on them, which is kind of weird.
You're right. Well, here, hang on.
That's a mail terminal.
This thing over here. Oh no, it's a mail one.
Okay.
I can show you. There's one. Actually, follow me. There's one just where we were, and there's some all over the place. But like just in here,
Really?
there's a bank terminal.
Oh wow!
Right here.
So it is. That's strange.
Yeah, that's bank.
That one's a mail terminal. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. All right, yeah, I see.
And that one's a
Like
mail
the
terminal. And they're just
the
all over the
screen on
place
this
on
one
the-
shows the bank symbol,
Mhm.
whereas the screen on this one shows the mail symbol.
Yeah.
And then there's this nice little view of the shuttle bay.
Yep.
Which, if people can see on my mini map, there's looks like some people that have kind of leapt over there. I'm sure there's a way to jump into it, but I just don't really care. But you can see a bunch of the different shuttles. Like there's the Yellowstone. There's some worker bees.
I think the Yellowstone was like a giveaway or something because I have it for some reason.
Yes, the Yellowstone was part of a giveaway. The Yellowstone is also considered the modern shuttle now. But yeah, so that's the new Earth Spacedock.
One more thing.
Oh yes, yeah, we should go show off ops.
Yep. Also, it bestows the fate of a certain character. Because over here is Ensign Rack, alive and well.
Hi, Rack.
You can actually even reference the fact that you know.
Yeah, good to see you survived.
Yeah. I should actually come here and see if that option appears for a character who hasn't done the mission. But yes, from here you can see Earth. Right out the window. Now I want to see, do they do the horribly kind of cultural centric thing of showing like North America? Actually, that looks like Asia. I can't be sure. No, actually, it looks like Africa. I take it back. I think that's Africa.
Yeah, I can't quite tell.
It's hard to tell with the cloud cover, but the shape. Oh, maybe it is North America. No, because North America doesn't have a big hanging.
I mean, I may need
gap.
to see. It's 400 years in the future, so.
Geology
maybe.
does not work that quickly.
I don't know.
No. Unless like we artificially altered geography, the geology of the planet in the future, it does not work that quickly.
In any case, I'm not entirely sure what they're showing.
Plus, they've shown the show and Earth looks like Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that's Africa, but I really can't tell just from the view. It doesn't look like North America to me because there's no giant kind of inlet. And then again, I don't think there's one in Africa either. So I don't know where that is.
I mean, the thing that strikes me is that landmass that's sort of off to the far right hand side looks a lot like Labrador, but that's like Labrador is not an island, so I'm sure it's based on something from a shot of Earth from the show. I just can't remember offhand.
Oh, and down here is the officer training stuff.
Yeah. All the guys found
very pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The new Earth Spacedock is really nice. And then over here they've got a nice little meeting area that also shows off all the if not all, most of the ship models.
You take that Picard, you only had like 5.
Yeah, but I think this is also like a bunch of officers' But I'm pretty sure these aren't all from one guy.
Now let's see, we got a Miranda, an Intrepid, a
That's the patrol escort.
patrol escort, another class name, Akira.
There's a Prometheus. There's a that's the
Deep Space Science
yeah,
vessel, I
yeah,
think.
DSSV and Nova.
Nova, Akira, Galaxy,
Defiant.
That's a Vesta down there, I think.
No, that's the. We had this discussion before we started recording. that's
the assault
the
cruiser,
assault cruiser.
or the
Yeah.
is it Assault or Star?
Assault.
'Cause we got messed up because it was a Mare.
Yeah, it's the Star Cruiser.
And then I think that's the Sovereign.
That last.
Sovereign or Odyssey?
No, yeah, that's a Sovereign.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
The easiest way to tell the Sovereign and the Odyssey apart, other than being way better at Star Trek than we are, is the Odyssey has that open neck.
Yeah, it's just hard to see the open neck when it's on the bottom floor and you can't really get a bottom view of it. Whoops, I fell up the stairs.
Yeah, I had just a weird bit of input.
In here,
we got, there's Quinn.
Admiral Quinn.
Oh, here's
Ambassador Sugihara.
There's another set of
Romulan Ambassador.
These just look like the same ships.
Are they the same?
They're the same ships.
Aw. Well, they're mirrored. But...
And placed on different racks.
Yeah.
Different order. Oh, wait, here we go. This tells us what the ships are.
Oh, cool. Ooh.
Yeah, you can't really.
Let's see. USS Quezro.
Oh, wow, they got
USS Freeman Dyson.
Wow, they got one of those ugly ass science vessels on there. My goodness. Wait, is that? Oh no, that's the first tier escort down there, the USS Armstrong.
Yeah. Yeah, USS Hippocrates. USS Armstrong's the.
The tier 2 escort. There's they have a
USS...
steam runner in there. That's interesting.
USS Pathfinder?
Yeah.
USS Al. I know it's Al Batari, but when I first saw it, I thought it said All Batman.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did they pick these off player name ships?
You know what?
USS Icarus is the.
These can't be player ships because all the NCC numbers are under 90,000.
Yeah.
Cryptic has very specifically said that it has very specifically not allowed players to use registration numbers below 90,000.
But yeah, it's showing them. I'm wondering if there's like my settings are just too low for this to not be clear.
My settings are pretty high and I can't see them. But let me just take a look.
I think our mine are maxed.
Let me just see if there's a texture setting that I could have. Yeah, I think my stuff is all at max, so I cannot make my texture any better. I bet if someone were to ask, like they would probably be able to provide a higher res version.
And over here is a big map of Earth Spacedock, basically. And we are somewhere.
It's
we're
deck
in
47.
Yeah. We're actually we're toward the outer side of it. Because they specifically wanted to have both a view of the ships and a view of Earth. So. But yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. So that's both the new Earth Spacedock and the new featured mission in a supplemental episode that is larger than the normal episode. Yeah.
Again. So we did that last time too.
That's
right.
Okay. It is.
But it's pretty.
So I hope everyone enjoyed this little tour of both the Galaxy and of Earth Spacedock.
Well, we go do tour of the Galaxy.
Yeah, actually, that is a daily mission now. It is not a timed thing.
Yeah.
But maybe that's something we can do much later.
Yes,
I've
actually
done it
never
a few
it,
times.
so.
It's all right. It's more interesting because it
Yeah.
gets you a title, if I remember correctly. It's either a title or a trait, but that's if it's a trait, that's a new change. But in any case, yeah,
I'm
celebrating the new Earth Spacedock. So
yes, and trying to cover you in balloons. I think one just bounced off your head.
that
That's
would
pretty
have had to have been
hilarious.
on your screen, not mine. But yeah, so that'll be it for us. Thank you everyone for watching, and we hope to see you all next time.
Bye, everybody.